What's going on, guys? We are back with another video. We just returned from Turkey.
Can't you tell by the tan and the burn?
Yeah, yeah, I pretty much burned. She tanned golden, so yeah, it was great. Other than that, thank you guys for continuing to send the videos. We're going to react to all the ones you sent through, you know, catching up on the list. But for now, let's check this one out.
Want to fight America? 5 reasons the US military will make you dead. The United States is the most formidable military power the world has ever seen.
That might be the beach in Turkey for all you know. Look how nice it is.
Look at that sea.
The proper,
so blue.
proper crystal sea and sand.
Arguably, since the end of the Cold War, America has enjoyed a level of dominance unparalleled in history. Neither Rome nor the British Empire enjoyed such a level of superiority over rival powers. While the American military is not the largest on Earth, it is by far the best trained and best equipped force on the planet, putting rivals like Russia and China to shame. But it took generations to develop America's military into the world-beating force it is today. And it wasn't until the end of the Civil War that the US fielded armies that could challenge European militaries on the battlefield. From then onwards, it took 2 world wars before the US military finally established itself as the most dominant force on Earth.
Damn. 2 world wars after, then they got it dominant. So it wasn't
because
even
they were about to be taken over by Britain.
Yeah, yeah. They got colonized. It's mad.
Here are 5 of all-time deadliest innovations in America's arsenal. Number 1, the Gatling Gun.
That's my kind of weapon.
First fielded during the American Civil War, which to this day is the deadliest war in US history with over 600,000 military dead, the Gatling gun was one of the first rapid-fire weapons in history.
Fucking hell.
Consisting of multiple barrels rotating around a central axis, the weapon, invented by Richard Gatling, solved the problem of providing sustained fires for the first time in the gunpowder age.
Look how much bullets that
I was
has.
just about to say
and
that.
how big a bullet is.
How many bullets does it... It fires a lot.
Yeah, they'll probably tell us. That looks like a mad...
It looks like it's got 6 barrels. Is that what it's called?
Barrels. Yeah, but yeah, barrels. I think it's called barrels. Let us know, guys. But yeah, that looks like... Imagine shooting that into like a building. Just... Forget that. If with no one in there. Just to like... Oh
Let's make that
God,
very clear.
That'd be mad.
Initially, the US Army, due to the service's conservative nature, was reluctant to adopt Gatling's invention. After Gatling had improved on his initial 6-barrel design that fired 350 rounds per minute, the Army did eventually adopt the new weapon.
Wow.
It was first used in 1864 at the Battle of Petersburg in Virginia. After the end of the Civil War, the Army used a 10-barrel Gatling gun that could fire 400 rounds per minute during various conflicts with the Native American population in what are now the western states. The Maxim machine gun eventually replaced the Gatling gun, but the crude hand-driven weapon heralded what was to come. During the brutal trench warfare of World War I, untold thousands fell to machine gun fire.
Fucking hell. I would love to launch one of that.
That looks like fireworks.
Just hold it like this. It would be fucking crazy, man.
Oh my God.
It
Do you think you're on Call of Duty or something?
Mate, I might as well be. I might as well bloody get ready to deploy myself into the COD life.
Number 2. The atomic bomb.
Nukes.
The United States developed the atomic bomb during the height of the Second World War under a program called the Manhattan Project. The project kicked off in 1939 when the Advisory Committee on Uranium told President Franklin Roosevelt that the element would provide a possible source of bombs with a destructiveness vastly greater than anything now known. Work on the bomb went into overdrive after the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. When the United States formally entered World War II against Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Much of the urgency was driven by the belief that the Nazis were working on their own version of the bomb.
Ooh. Imagine if Nazis actually built an atomic bomb before the US. They would have launched that as well, you know? They would have held back, I don't think.
Yeah.
It eventually succeeded and yielded the two-weapon designs that ultimately brought the Second World War to an end. On August 6, 1945, a lone B-29 bomber called Enola Gay, commanded by Colonel Paul Tibbets, destroyed the city of Hiroshima with a single 15-kiloton nuclear weapon called Little Boy.
Little boy?
A few days later, a 21-kiloton yield weapon called Fat Man destroyed Nagasaki on August 9, 1945.
I know of the Fat Man. I heard about that. It's meant to be an absolute madness. Like, one of those...
More madder than Little Boy.
Yeah. Well, Little Boy's Little Boy and Fat Man's Fat Man. It's in the name. Fat Man's like sumo size.
Wow.
Little Boy is like 4-year-old size in comparison.
Seeing the writing on the wall, the
Oh my
Emperor of
God, look at the
Japan
damage.
ordered an unconditional surrender. The world would never be the same with the dawn of the atomic era.
Wow. One bomb. How do you even go about producing that? Like, the science behind producing that is crazy.
Of course.
Like, look at the damage. It's so sad to see, but that damage is crazy, man.
Imagine the innocent wildlife.
Wildlife and humans are all getting smoked.
Of course, everybody. That's any living creature.
This takes out the whole
Sad.
piece of a chunk of earth, basically.
But this is war, unfortunately.
Number 3, precision-guided weapons.
This is good.
Since the 1970s, one of America's decisive advantages in war has been the ability to hit targets precisely. During most of history, war has basically been about throwing a huge volume of fire at a target with a small chance of actually hitting anything. The introduction of precision-guided weapons changed all that. For example, when the 8th Air Force launched a massive air raid to knock out German ball-bearing plants in 1943, it launched around 400 B-17 bombers to hit the targets. Most of the bombs, dropped at appalling cost and meant an aircraft, didn't even come close to hitting their targets. The pattern has repeated itself over and over, and entire squadrons would be launched to hit a single target. More often than not, they wouldn't hit a thing. That all changed towards the end of the Vietnam War. In 1972, laser-guided bombs allowed U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy jets to hit targets precisely. Instead of dozens of jets trying to strike a single target in vain, one jet could hit multiple targets during a sortie. While in 1972, there were only a handful of precision-guided weapons available, in 2015, almost all weapons dropped from American warplanes are precision-guided.
Yeah, because imagine how much bombs they wasted in terms of not being able to hit the actual target. If they're aiming for a specific building because there's a terrorist threat or something, they're blowing up everything around and all the innocent people are getting hurt. So it's good they finally introduced that technology. One, they waste less bullets or ammo in terms of bombs. Two, they could actually hit the threat rather than innocent people around, you know, that are being affected. So good thing that changed.
Precision gun.
Fucking hell.
Number 4, stealth. With the development of ever more capable Soviet surface-to-air weapons during the 1960s and 1970s, the United States Air Force had to come up with a solution to defeat the ever-increasing threat. The answer was stealth technology.
We reacted to that plane. Looked like a UFO, innit?
Looks like from Star Wars.
Yeah, just different.
Yeah.
Which would reduce an aircraft's radar cross-section and infrared signature. Ironically, it was a Soviet scientist by the name of Pyotr Ufimtsev who first discovered the equations to develop a low-radar cross-section aircraft. Ufimtsev's work eventually came to the attention of Lockheed engineer Dennis Overholzer, who then developed the configuration for the first stealth aircraft, which he called the Hopeless Diamond.
I like
The
that.
Hopeless Diamond eventually evolved into the Lockheed F-117, the world's first operational stealth aircraft in 1981.
That actually looks like a bit of a diamond, doesn't it? It looks, the one we used to react to was proper like sleek. This has a more of a pyramid shape on its head.
From that initial start remotely with these new systems. While initially considered a passing fad, the past 15 years have shown that unmanned aircraft are here to stay, and war will never be the same. The MQ-1 Predator, which was first introduced over the Balkans in 1990s, is a crewed aircraft. Its follow-on, the MQ-9C Reaper, is a little more sophisticated, but it's the start of something that will change warfare forever.
From when you're calling it the Reaper, that shit means business, I'll tell you that.
It's not here just to play around.
It's not here to be your friend.
Yeah.
It's here to take your soul.
Aircraft like the carrier-based Northrop Grumman X-47B are starting to show the true potentials of such machines. Indeed, aircraft without pilots might be the dominant weapon during the remaining decades of this century. As recently as yesterday, Navy Secretary Ray Mabus told an audience that the U.S. Navy will never buy another manned strike fighter again after the F-35C. And if Mabus's vision comes to fruition, unmanned aircraft will give the U.S. unmatched capabilities well into the future.
What I will say is I love how, obviously, US military is clearly number one at the moment. You know, they're miles ahead of all the competition like Russia and China. But what I really, really do like is how innovative their teams are. So like behind the scenes, they got people working, like scientists and, you know, different teams working on different things, like that guy who introduced stealth planes, you know, or on the team that worked on the atomic bomb. Like, they didn't copy someone and just made it better. They created something. And like even the precision bombs, that's now becoming copied by Russia and China, and they're following the steps. They're like the market innovators in military, which explains why they pump in so much money, because there's so much work behind the scenes that comes forward, you know?
And this is why no one should mess with America.
5 reasons the US will have you dead.
Hopefully not us.
Hopefully not us.
Any of us.